also studied the graphs. Let me back up. We have studied the slopes of lines. We learned two ways to find the slope of a line. You can use rise over run. And when do you use that? When there is a graphed line. We've also learned to use y minus y over x minus x. When do you use that? When you're given 2 points. We've studied that. Do you see how it's all tying together? We have also studied the graphs of linear equations. In other words, I gave you an equation and you graphed it. We did that recently, right? We learned the table of values method, the double intercept method, the slope intercept method. I gave you an equation and you graphed it, okay? Today in this lesson, we're going backwards. Excuse me. I will either give you information about a line, and you'll see what I mean in a second when I say information, or I will give you the graph of a line. So I will either give you information or I will give you the graph, and you will then write the equation. It sounds difficult, but in reality, it just comes down to knowing the two models and when to use them. Okay? You can do that and you will be home free. First, here are the two models with their official names and when to use each one. Now, I'm going to go like boom, 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 and then pause, okay? So be ready for that and don't be surprised. Here we go. Now, this is called the slope-intercept model. Write this in your notes, and I'm going to go through it fast. I'm expecting you to pause the video, okay? This is called the slope-intercept model, y equals mx plus b. You use this model when you're given the slope and when you're given the y-intercept. Got it? Isn't that simple? So if I give you the slope of a line and I give you the y-intercept, then you use this model here. It's so simple. This model here, and don't worry about all the y's and the y subscript 1 and the x's and the b's. I'll explain that to you later. The second model is called the point slope model. Now, you use this model when I give you a point and the slope of a line. So I might say, hey, a line passes through this point and has a slope of this right here. Well, if that's what I give you, a point and a slope, then use this model here. You can also use this model when I give you what? 2 points. So if I say to you, hey, a line passes through these two ordered pairs right here, write the linear equation. The first thing you say to yourself is, okay, self, I have 2 points. Which model do I use when I have 2 points? This model here, and that's the model you use. Please write all of this down and make sure you remember this. The above information is the key to writing linear equations. It's the key, okay? Alright, here we go. Let's give these two models a shot and see how they work. Write the linear equation for the line that has a y-intercept of 5 and a slope of negative 2/3. Did I give you 2 points? No. Did I give you a point and the slope? No. But did I give you the slope? Yes. And the y-intercept? Yes. So this is the model you're going to use. Isn't that easy? So write your model down. Now just make your substitutions. In other words, I have taught you that the y-intercept is always denoted by the letter what? B. So B equals 5. I've also taught you the slope is denoted by the letter M. So your slope is 2/3, so M equals negative 2/3. So where the B is right here, I'm going to put 5. Where the M is right here, I'm going to put negative 2/3. Of course, you want to have an x and you want to have a y because you're writing a linear equation and you're done. I mean, guys, that's just pretty simple. Anytime I give you the y y-intercept b and the slope m. Use this model here and simply put a value in for m, a value in for b, and you're finished. These are pretty simple. Now let's try another one, okay? In this problem here, I'm giving you a couple of different things. I want you to write the linear equation for the line that has a slope of 4/7 and passes through this point right here. So did I give you the slope and the y-intercept? Well, I gave you the slope, but I didn't give the y-intercept. Did I give you 2 points? No, I gave you 1 point, not 2. However, did I give you a point? Yes, right here. Here's your ordered pair. That's a point. And did I give you the slope? Yes, I did. So check, check. So this is the formula I want to use right here. Got it? See it? You've got to know which formula to use. I need a little more space, so I'm going to erase all this and slide this up so I have some more space, okay? Alright, now, we just decided the formula we're going to use is this formula here. Now, listen carefully. Let me teach you what's going on. The y that has a subscript 1, you're going to put a number in for that. Make note of that. Don't forget that. The x with a subscript 1, you're going to put a number in for that. And of course, for m, we put the slope. This y stays the same. This x stays the same. Just like on our last page right here. The x stayed the same. The y stayed the same. There is no subscript underneath the x and the y. It was just plain old x and y, okay? So, here we go. This is my x value, this is my y value, this is my m value. So y minus y. Where's my y value? -5. Now watch your signs. It's y minus a -5. Now a negative and a negative makes the 5 become positive. Alright? For m, I'm going to substitute 4/7. Now my x value, I have x minus, here's x subscript 1. My x value is 2, so I'm going to substitute 2. Now, technically you're finished. That is a beautiful, perfect linear equation, okay? But in my class, I'm very meticulous, and actually so is the book also. I always want you to finish your linear equations by getting y by itself, okay? Yes, I know. You guys love me for that, but it is really technically how it's supposed to be done. So if we're going to get y by itself, let's first simplify the right side. Take your 4/7 and multiply it through. So a positive 4/7 times a positive x is 4/7 x. A positive 4/7 times a -2 is a -8/7. Okay, now if you struggle with this, use your graphing calculator. Put 4/7 in parentheses, 4 divided by 7, and then hit times 2 or -2 times -2. Hit enter, and you'll get a decimal. Then hit math, enter, and you'll get -8/7. Now bring the 5 over, make it a -5, and your final answer will be, notice y is all by itself, so I know I'm finished. 4/7 x minus 6 1/7. Okay. Now, if you didn't want to put 6 1/7, if you want to put -43/7, that's the exact same thing. In fact, if you struggle with fractions and you used your graphing calculator, you would want to type in -8/7 in parentheses. So parentheses, then -8/7, then close your parentheses, and then -5, enter, and what you're going to get is -6.142857143. Then hit math, enter, and you'll get -43/7, which is the same thing as -6 1/7. I do not care which one of these two that you use. Y is all by itself. You know you're finished. It's okay to have fractions in your answer. So guys, look, I mean, I hope that you're seeing these are pretty simple. If you just watch your little mistakes, just follow the models and you'll be fine. Now, here's another one, the slope and the y-intercept? No. Did I give you a point in the slope? No. Did I give you 2 points? Yes, I did. Point number 1. Point number 2. When you're given 2 points, which model do you use? This model right here. So that's the model we're going to use. Now I need some room, so I'm going to slide this up. Hopefully everybody sees why I chose this model here. So here we go. Now, here's the problem. This is a great model, but notice I've got the letter M here. I've got to put something in for M. M stands for slope, and I don't have the slope, but hold it. I have 2 ordered pairs, do I not? Can I not find the slope of a line when given 2 ordered pairs? We've learned this. You should see this right away. Y minus y over x minus x. Well, Mr. Earhart, hold on. I see how we're going to find the slope, but then which point do I use for my point slope formula? Well, we'll get to that a little later, okay? I'll explain that. But for right now, let's focus on finding the slope. So y minus y, here's my x, here's my y, here's my x, here's my y. My first y is a negative 4. And then minus, and then my second y is a negative 7. My first x is a negative 3. And then minus, my second x is 8. So here's what I have. A negative 4, negative is a positive 7, negative 4, positive 7 is a positive 3. Negative 3, negative 8 is negative 11. A positive over negative is negative, and 3 over 11 cannot be reduced. So there's the slope. So now I know what M is. Negative 3/11. Okay? Now, which point do you use? Well, I'm actually going to solve this problem twice to prove to you it doesn't matter which point you use. Okay? So in other words, now that I've found the slope, which point do I use? It doesn't matter. So I'm going to use this point first. Are you ready? Watch carefully. Y minus, what is my y value? Negative 4. So y minus a negative 4 will be y plus 4. Then for M, I'm going to substitute negative 3/11. And then x minus, well, x minus, my x value is a negative 3. So x minus a negative 3 is positive 3. Alright, now let's get y by itself. So take the right side and simplify. Take your negative 3/11 and multiply it through. Negative 3 times x, or negative 3/11 times x, is negative 3/11 x. Negative times a positive is negative. 3/11 times 3 is 9/11. 3 over 11 times 3 over 1 is 9/11. Now, bring the positive 4 over and make it a negative 4. So you're left with y equals negative 3/11 x minus 4 and 9/11. Now, if you don't want to put 4 and 9/11, if you want to put 53 over 11, that's totally fine. Alright? Either way is acceptable. Now, what point did I just use for this model? This point. Okay? Now, forget this point. Now I'm going to use this point here, and you're going to see that using this point here gives the exact same answer. And so students, here we go. Y minus, now your y value is negative 7, so y minus a 7 would be a positive 7. So y positive 7 equals, for M we're going to put negative 3/11. And then x minus 8, or x negative 8. Now let's get y by itself. Y positive 7 equals negative 3/11 times x is negative 3/11x. Negative times a negative is positive. 3/11 times 8 is 24 over 11. Alright, now bring the 7 over and make it negative. And now I'm pretty good with fractions, and I can do that in my head, but I don't want to take time to do that. So I'm going to actually grab my calculator, and I hope I get this right here. If not, I'm going to look a little dumb, but I know I'm right. I'll just have to go back and find my mistake somewhere. Alright, so with your calculator, in parentheses, put parentheses 24 divided by 11, then close your parentheses, then minus 7, enter. Then hit math, enter, enter. and I'm getting negative 53 over 11, which is exactly what I wanted to get. So thankfully I didn't make a mistake anywhere. So do you see, students, after you find the slope, it doesn't matter which point you use. Pick one and go with it, okay? For example, let's say one point was 1 half comma 5, and the other one was 6 comma 3. Well, obviously, which point would you want to use? I think it'd be a lot easier to use the point that didn't have a fraction, okay? I'm just saying, just use common sense. All right, now, let's wrap this up by looking at actual graphs and writing linear equations when you're given a linear graph, okay? So far I've been giving you information like 2 points, or a point and a slope, or a slope and a y-intercept, but now I'm going to give you graphs. We'll do 2 of these, and we'll be finished. 1, 2, and we're finished. All right, here we go. In your notes, I would like you to take a second and copy this down, okay? In your notes, please copy this down. I'm actually going to move on because with it being a video class, you can pause the video, copy this down, and then restart the video. So copy this down and then watch how we do this. Now, think about this, guys. Come on, common sense, common sense. The first thing you want to know is which model to use. Well, there's a huge hint, guys. You know the y-intercept. Remember, this is your y-axis, this is your x-axis. Do you know where the line crosses the y-axis at? Yes, right here. Dude, you can see it. Positive 3. Well, if I know what the y-intercept is, then I know what b is. Man, if I can find the slope real quick, then I'm home free. Remember, if I find the slope and the y-intercept, I can use my easy formula. Look, anytime you know the y-intercept, try to use that, okay? Alright, now you should remember, we've learned how to find the slope of a graphed line. You connect the 2 points, you can go up and then over, that's totally acceptable. Or you can go over and then up, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to do it this way. So, I'm going to find the rise first. Put your pencil here, don't count until you move. 1. Now I'm going to put my pencil here and not count until I move. 1, 2, 3, 4. So slope is going to be rise 1 over run 4. Now here's the left side of the line. Here's the right side of the line. From left to right is going upward, so it's a positive slope. So guys, do I know the y-intercept? Yes. Do I know the slope? Yes. Look right here. When you know the slope and the y-intercept, use this formula here. It's so easy. So here's my formula. Y equals mx plus b. These are the easiest, guys. So where the m is, I'm going to substitute 1/4. And where the b is, I'm going to substitute 3. Look at that. Finished. Kind of a poor looking 4 there, but you get the idea. Alright, now, last one and we're finished. There we go. Alright. We really don't know the y-intercept, guys. Look, if the y-intercept goes right through a crosshairs like it did here, that's one thing. Here it could be 0.5, 0.49. We don't know what the y-intercept is. So we don't know the y-intercept. I wish we did. We don't. So since we don't know the y-intercept, we know for sure that we're not going to use this formula here because you have to know the y-intercept and the slope. So what we do know is we know 2 points the line falls on. 2 points, right? Here's a point, here's a point. So if you know 2 points, when you're given 2 points, what model do you use? That one right there. So that's the model we're going to use. Now, we don't know the slope though, do we? We really need to know the slope to use this model. So, we're going to have to find the slope. Now, you can use rise over run. I have no problem with that. Let's get the 2 points up here. My 2 points are negative 1 and positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 point is negative 1, 5. 1 to the left, 5 up. This point is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 to the right, and then down 3. So negative 3. So there's my 2 points. We'll call this point A, point 7, 8. So there's your rise. So you have a run of 5, a rise of 8. So your slope would be rise over run. But hold it. This is the left end of the line. This is the right end. From left to right, it goes down where you have a negative slope. Now, if you don't like that formula, if you prefer to use the y minus y over the x minus x, that's fine. I don't know why you'd want to do that, since you've got the graphic, but that's okay. Real quick, I'll do it for you. Y slope is y minus y. 5 is your y, and y5 minus a negative 3. X minus x, here's your first x, and here's your second x. X minus x, you get 8 over a negative 5, and a positive over negative is negative 8 fifths. Same thing. Okay, so there we go. Now, I taught you previously when you're given 2 points, and after you find the slope, which we've done, it doesn't matter which point you use. So guys, they both look the same to me. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to cross this one off so I'm not confused and use this one here, okay? So here's my x, here's my y, and here we go. Y minus, and my y value is a negative 3, so y minus a negative 3 is going to give me a positive 3. For my m, I'm going to put in negative 8 fifths. And then x minus, and my x value is 4. And now here we go. Take your negative 8 fifths and multiply it through. Negative 8 fifths times x is negative 8 fifths x. Negative times a negative is positive, and you'll get 32 over 5. Now, if you struggle with fractions, for the 100th time, I'm going to keep saying this. Use your fraction, or use your calculator, okay? So you would type into your calculator, parentheses, then the little negative button, that's the bottom row. You've got to use that negative sign, not the minus sign on the right side. The little negative down below, negative, then 8 divided by 5, close the parentheses, and then times, so hit times, and then negative 4, and hit enter, and you'll get something like, I don't know, 6.4, I believe. Then hit math, enter, and you'll get 32 over 5. Now, the last thing to do is bring this 3 over, make it negative. And again, use your calculator, guys, okay? Y equals negative 8 fifths x. Now, positive 32 over 5, negative 3 is going to give you a positive 3 and 2 fifths. Or if you don't want to put 3 and 2 fifths, you're welcome to put 17 over 5. And again, if you're weak with fractions, I did that in my head, but if you're weak with fractions, again, take 32 over 5, put it in parentheses, 32 divided by 5, then hit negative 3, and you'll get a decimal, and then hit math, enter, and you will get 17 over 5, okay? Now, there was something I was going to say here. On these 2 answers here, I really don't care if you have this or this, okay? So that's your answer. Please don't forget on your linear equations to always get y all by itself. That's really, really, really important, okay? So look, guys, the key is knowing these models right here. That's the key. Knowing the models and knowing when to use them. After that, it's pretty much home free, okay? Alright, hope this video has been a help. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call or email.